welcome to the 2014 OmniUpdate User Training Conference. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker of the day, my friend, Mr. Nathan Gerber. Now, Nathan is one of you. He's been a customer for over 10 years at Utah Valley University. In fact, they went through a name change halfway through that 10 years. And Nathan, because of that, knows a thing or two about this product that you all use. But Nathan has also, like many of you, been a web professional for many years, since the very early days of the web. And because of that, Nathan knows a thing or two about change as well. And Nathan is one of these people that embraces change and really understands that change brings opportunity and how to embrace the positive energy that change can bring to your organization. Now, a lot of things are changing this year. As we move to version 10, there's going to be a lot of changes. And Nathan knows this very well, and he's been an early participant in the beta program and a big help in getting version 10 out. And I can't think of a better person to help us move into this new world than our friend, Mr. Nathan Gerber. Nathan? Thanks.
All right. Everybody having a good time? All right, good. I'd have a better time if I was down there, but for the next little bit, I'm up here. So we're going to have a good time. Like Lance said, about halfway through our tenure with OmniUpdate, we did go through a name change. I used to be called Skeeter. Now I'm Nathan Gerber. No, we're excited to be here, and hopefully I can give you some ideas of how to leverage change, how to harness the energy, things like that. And we'll just see how it goes. How's that? I hope I remember what's on my slides. So let's give this a shot. So again, I'm Nathan Gerber. I've been with Utah Valley University forever. I've been there since '94, but in my current position as the Director of Web Development Services, I've been there 15 years. I'm also one of the Noel Levitt's associate consultants, and several of them are here. Go team. All right. A little bit about Utah Valley University. What we've got is we have a centralized CMS with OmniUpdate's OU campus. We also have decentralized content management throughout the whole entire institution. About 30,000 public-facing pages, and we have over 420 web folks across campus that we work with. We're not massive, but we are quite large as far as how many people we work with, and it becomes quite a challenge to stay connected with all those people. So hopefully you can use that in relating to some of the things I have to say tonight. So how about the power of 10, right? Everybody's excited for OU 10? Yes, lots of good things. Lance touched on several of them. 10th anniversary of this conference. Version 10 coming out. They have me speaking because I'm a 10. Just kidding. Yeah, lots of good things about the power of 10. Hopefully we'll share some of those as we go this morning. So let's talk about some change. Anybody like seasonal changes? How about those of you? Who's here from the eastern half of the United States? Are you guys ready for spring or what? Yeah, you've had kind of a rough go of it, right? What is it about this changes of seasons that gets people excited? There's something about the seasons changing. I love the seasons changing. I like to garden, so coming out of winter, going into spring is all about, new growth and getting the garden going and things like that. But each season change has some kind of energy, has some kind of excitement about it. It doesn't last for very long. We get excited going into winter, and about this time of year, we're like, can we just be done already? Can we just get into spring? So as change occurs, energy or power can be released. When water is changed from water to steam, a lot of power can be released. In fact, many cities are powered by the power of steam. So change has a lot of power. But sometimes that change isn't quite what we think it's going to be, right? Anybody ever experienced change that wasn't quite what you thought it was going to be? Yeah? Well, I asked a couple of friends of mine to explain some things that relates to that.
my schooling. I'm not going to cost all this. Have you got 2 tens for a 5? Just so happen. I said,
Anybody relate to that? If you can relate to that, I got a 5 I need some change for a little later. So, change doesn't always occur the way we want it to. And sometimes it's humorous and sometimes it's not so humorous. It's about how do we gather the power around that change? How can we grab a hold of it? How can we do something with it? How can we leverage it for a positive? So let's talk a little bit about that. I think everyone would agree, especially in the web world, there's nothing permanent except change, right? Changes constantly. Anybody have changes this last year you've been through on the web? Yes, yes. Anybody use Google Analytics? How many changes did Google Analytics alone make this year? Anybody tired of changes with Google Analytics? Yeah, it's like over 650 changes in the Google Analytics system alone this year. Or this past year. So change is always occurring, especially on the web. So one thing we have to do is figure out how do we use this? How do we deal with this? So like this says here, it's not change itself. It's what we do with change that counts. You know, for years, for decades, we, speaking of Northern California, we were very wise and we protected the redwoods from any kind of fires or anything, right? For decades. And they started to dwindle. We couldn't figure out why. Until we figured out that it actually takes heat or fire or some kind of a natural change like that to make the seeds germinate for new redwoods. Then we were able to take that knowledge and use it and take something that some people consider as a disaster or a problem with fire in those natural forests and actually generate new growth and rebuild those forests. So it's really what we do with change that counts. Change is just going to occur. And what kind of presentation isn't complete without a motivational saying, right? So here you go. Here's your motivational saying. And it really is about what we become, not we individually, but what maybe our website becomes during that change. How many of you are working towards a responsive solution right now on your website? Why are you doing that? Because you hope that your website will become something better than it currently is, right? That's really what you're trying to do. So, anybody ever seen this guy before? Ben Franklin, right? Everybody knows Benjamin Franklin. What's he known for? Somebody tell me. What's that? Okay. Okay, electricity, right? Everybody knows electricity. How about Postmaster General? Did you know that? He was involved in the Postal Service in the beginning, getting it going, things like that. One thing I learned about him was I had an opportunity to read his autobiography earlier this year. Interesting read. He also was the first one that invented a fire station type scenario in Philadelphia. So he was able to actually cut down how many houses would burn down when a fire would happen. Those kinds of things. But one thing you may or may not know about Benjamin Franklin is he had something called the 13 Virtues. 13 Virtues was a way that he used from his 20s through until he died to improve himself every day, to change something about himself each day. And the reason he did that is because he found that it's in the change that gave him the energy or the power to continue on. So every day through his entire life, from the time he was 20, he had a little notebook that he would tick off things he was working on. And he'd work on one thing a week, 13 weeks, 4 times a year. So that was his method, or his way to overcome or to improve, to change, and to harness the power that comes with that change. Now, all of us know that the mobile world's changing, right? We've gone from a brick all the way to a complete computing device in the palm of our hand, and nowadays it's on our wrists or whatever. It's all over the place, and this change is happening whether we like it or not. And we can either harness it for really good, or we can harness it and be negative about it, or overwhelmed by it, or those types of things. So one thing we want to try to do is harness it to improve and to produce, go forward. Now, some of you have seen this before. I've used this in the presentation before. This comes from the Evolution of the Web. If you haven't checked it out, it's kind of a cool resource. It's evolutionoftheweb.com, I think, or .org. You'll have to check it out. But one thing this shows is it shows new technology on the web. It shows how things have changed over the years. So as you can see here, we've got from 1991 all the way to 2005, quite a bit of change, right? But if you fast forward it a little bit, yeah. Anybody tired? I'm tired. It wears you out. Since 2008, things have just kind of exploded. They've gone all over the place. And if anyone feels like the web stuff is settling down and things are just starting to kind of become slower, well, you're looking in the wrong place, because I think it's just increasing. The speed of change is increasing. And what we found was we were very frazzled and we were very concerned that we couldn't keep up with this energy. We couldn't keep up with this change. And then we realized there is energy about that change, and it's what we do with that energy that can help us. Okay, so that's one place we found that there was some energy that we might be able to grab. The other thing we did is with this whole responsive design thing, we decided, hey, it's time that we move our site to be responsive, and so we did. And what we found is when we released it, there was energy in that change, more so than we thought. We thought it would just be a rollout of a new template or a new website or a new system or a new feature, something our content contributors had to learn, something we had to maintain. But there was energy, real energy in there that we weren't aware of. Okay? And we can use it for positive, or we can use it for negative, or let it get us down. One of the things that I want to talk about is when you use something for positive, then you can propel and move everybody forward. When it's negative, it drags everybody down. All right? So I wanted to relate a little bit, loosen up the tongue here, relate a little bit to tonight, right? Everybody excited for tonight? California Adventure Park. For those of you that have not been there before, this ride here is my favorite ride. It's soaring over California. Fantastic, fun ride. Best energy ever. That's where I will be for the 2 hours that I get allotted tonight. They actually have one of these seats with my name on it. I just jump on each time. It's cool. Positive energy, right? Awesome energy. This one, not so much. Okay? Not my favorite ride. Who likes Tower of Terror? Okay, I don't want to sit next to you guys on the bus. Okay? You go to the back of the bus. They lied to me last time. Okay? The first time that we came to California Adventure Park when this ride was open, we had our kids with us, and I think Josh was, 6? He was about 6 years old, little tyke, right? And we come up to this ride, everybody's all excited about it, everybody's going, that's the coolest ride ever. I'd never been on it, it's brand new. I get up there, and I said, I asked the guy taking the tickets, I said, well, so I've got my son here, he's pretty small, is this ride appropriate for him? He looks at him, oh yeah, sure, he can go. I'm like, well, how bad can it be, right? I cried like a little girl. It was not good. It was not good. They lied to me. My son's head was buried in my side here the whole time. We got off there. We'll never be on it again. It was terrible. Not good. My wife, however, loves the ride. She loves that ride. But what are you going to do with the energy from change? Are you going to leverage it? Or are you going to let it pass you by? Or is it going to be a burden to you? Okay? Where does the energy come from these changes? Does it come from content changes? I know some people on our campus that get very excited and have a lot of energy about content changes. And then I know certain people on our campus that could care less about content changes. We have some people that get super excited out of changing the functionality of the site, improving it for mobile or making some new function. Other people don't care too much about that. How about a web redesign project? Anybody involved with one of those? Anybody would like to not be involved in one of those? Okay. Redesign projects take a long time, and redesign is more than just the look and feel. Redesign is everything. But some people get very excited about the design changes. We have friends of ours at UVU that are in the marketing department that just love the design changes. Some people not so much. So it just depends on where does the energy come from on your website. Our opinion is when you start a web redesign project or something else, your team looks like this, right? Anybody relate to this? Yeah, we're going to knock this out of the park. It's going to be awesome. And then about halfway through the project, it's like this. Not so much. Can we just be done with it already? It can really wear on you, right? So where did the energy go? The change is still occurring. Where did the energy go? Tough questions. How do you get the energy back? Well, our opinion is the energy and the power comes from your people. If your people are excited about what you're trying to accomplish, then the project itself will have energy. The change will have energy. But then the people get the energy from where? From the project. So it's kind of synergistic. So let me ask you, do you have any people on your team that are super energetic? Yes? A couple of you? Good. How many of you with not so energetic people? A couple of us. Okay. So how do you help those people get energy? I don't know. Some people just have it naturally, some people don't. But let's show you a couple examples here. So how many of you would like to see this kind of guy on your web team? Now see, we should all go to work like that every morning, right? Yeah, we're going to take this web thing on, okay? There's a lot of energy there. Obviously, a lot of energy for what? A pizza sign. We do some pretty important things on the web, wouldn't you say? We should have some energy about what we do. And so we need to harness that. We need to leverage it, okay? How about this person? Anybody recognize this person? Kate Hansen. Women's luge team for the U.S. Olympic team. She gained national news this last winter, just recently, on her warm-up techniques. Anybody see this? Nobody saw this? Okay, a couple of you, good. So this is how she would warm up for the luge. All of you do that every morning, right? For the UVU team that's here, I've studied the dance moves. We're doing that starting next week. I just want to let you know that. Every morning, that's what we're doing. We're going to do it, okay? It's important to look at these people and say, where do they get the energy? Where do they find the energy? First of all, they love what they do. But second of all, they really have energy towards and feel what they're going to do is important. And so they grab a hold of that, okay? So let's hang on a second. Let's rewind a little bit. How do I know about this energy? Well, I didn't 18 months ago. My own team can attest. I was pretty worn out. A lot of changes going on the web. 18 months ago, all of a sudden some other things come up, and now we're, more stuff to do. That kind of thing. But we're going to rewind and tell you our story a little bit, and hopefully that'll help explain some things. So let's back up a little bit. Whoa, wait, not that far. All right, so let's go back. 2011. 2011. This was our web team. Put nuts on bolts. Fixing content changes, spelling errors, broken links. Anybody relate? Yeah? Gets tiring, doesn't it? Not a lot of energy in that. But then, so we weren't doing so great. I mean, we were doing okay, but we weren't doing great. And then we would call our web community together, or what we called our web community, a bunch of people, and we tried to hold a meeting. There were like 8 that showed up out of 420. I don't exaggerate. Literally, between 8 and 12 people would show up to our meeting, so it wasn't really effective. And this is pretty much what they look like. You know, we're telling them about new web stuff, and they're sleeping, not paying attention, playing Donkey Kong on their phone. I don't know. So it was pretty boring. It was pretty bad. At the same time, we felt like we were being pulled in a million different directions with what was expected of our web team. Anybody feel that way sometimes? You got administration pulling you one way. You got technology changes driving you in a totally different direction. Your resources are all but nothing, right? And dwindling. You've got your campus community making demands like crazy about certain things, and it just feels like it's going in all different directions and there's no control. That's how we felt. Then the big mantra from our president was, yeah, budgets are being cut, we got to do more with less. We used to joke and say, well, it's more with nothing, and now it's more with what we owe the other guy, that kind of thing. It just kept getting worse and worse and worse. So it was more with less, but yet more demands, more demands, more demands. And we just felt like we were coming to the end of our rope. There wasn't a lot of positive energy. Then the breaking straw hit us, and that was this responsive design. It comes out, all of a sudden, whole new direction of what we should be doing, what we should be focusing on. Another thing to learn. Are you kidding me? We just had reached the end of our rope. But something changed. We started putting together a responsive design with the little energy we had left. We get it put together, and what we found was that when lightning strikes, things happen. And again, it can be bad or good, right? Lightning can strike and burn down stuff or destroy stuff, but lightning can also strike and create power or energy. So we decided to harness it, okay? This is a futuristic picture. What I'm going to be doing in 2058. Nice plaid shirt there, jeans. All right. When we put our web design together, when we put our responsive design together, and it was like we were eking the last little of energy together, and then we thought, well, this is pretty cool stuff, and we want to really share it with the community. So we threw out another invite to the community across campus that said, hey, look, we got this new responsive design thing. For those of you that don't know what that is, it's about how mobile and everything else can work off of one page, blah, blah, blah. We tried to explain it in an email, and you're invited to a 2-hour meeting so we can share this concept with you. So we book a room, and we thought, well, you know, how many people are really going to show up? In the past, there's like 8 or 12 people, something like that. We had 150 people show up, packed the room, and we unveiled our responsive design, and I took a couple pictures. This was our audience. They were super excited. Now, the funny thing is, the energy from the room was amazing. It was very positive. But if you look through this picture, it literally was how everybody was feeling. You got everybody in here just in awe of this, wow, you can move the window and things change. That's so cool. It's like magic. But you also got people in this picture, you can see little characters here, totally fearful, right? Totally scared of the change, totally not knowing what's going on, those kinds of things. So it was important for us to identify those and try to harness the good energy and try to direct those that had concerns. So that's what we tried to do. Okay? So we created what we called Web Community 2.0 on our campus. We rebuilt our community website really quickly. We threw all of our training resources there, and we took a 3-pronged approach. An approach of connecting, training, and collaborating. We wanted to connect with them, and we wanted it to be more of a community effort. It wasn't a matter of web development services is now pitching what they're doing next, and we have to follow. It was more of, this is what we're doing, but we'd love to know what you want us to do next, or what you want us to do better. So it was more of a connecting, collaborative, and a training environment, more than just us regurgitating some information out to the community. We used a couple different tools. We used engagement sessions. For those of you who are wondering, that's a fancy word for meetings, okay? We had a lot of meetings. Not tons. We only hold our community meeting once every other month. So it's not as often as every month and not as far apart as every quarter. And it works pretty well. We also leverage every possible ounce of energy and power that comes from OU campus. It's very important to us that they understand the tool, because it's the best tool out there. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, that's why you're all here, right? We have all sorts of tools to use, but to be honest with you, our content management system, which is OU Campus, is the most powerful tool to engage every one of the people in our web community. It's 420 people. I can't engage them through email. I have to engage them with something else they can do. So we used our website, we used our email, we used blogs, we used the meetings, we used our tools, and we used OU Campus to try to engage our community. And the funny thing was, the energy starting to pour out of there was amazing. That energy fed us. We would go back after these meetings energized about what we need to attack next. And we were energized to deliver that back out to them 60 days later of what they need. And so it was, again, a synergy that we worked with them. We worked off of their energy, they worked off of our energy. And we actually are starting to see some significant collaboration with the different developers across campus, the different content contributors. In fact, we've seen some even with our deans and those kind of things. The other big change we made was we got really tired of the argument between who runs the web, marketing or IT. Let's start a fight. Who says IT runs the web? Who says marketing runs the web? Okay, we're meeting out of the flagpole after this meeting. We're going to rumble, okay? We're going to see who's left standing. No, but we got tired of this. How many of you are tired of this? How many of you are on marketing and would love to work with your IT folks? And how many of you are on IT side that would love to work with your marketing folks? It's a holistic picture. It's a team. So we said, bag it, forget it. IT does not exist on the web. Marketing does not exist on the web. I work in web development services. Web development services does not run the web. I have co-workers that work for marketing. Marketing doesn't run the web on our campus. What runs the web on our campus is the web team. And it doesn't matter which department you work for. If you work on the web, you work on the web team. You're part of the web team. Who do you call to get things fixed on the web? The web team. Well, who do I call? You call this number, and whoever answers that phone or that phone number will get you to the right person. Well, what if my question is about how I fix the images on my website? Doesn't matter. Call this one number, and we will get you to the right people. Well, what happens if my content's broken or the framework or the template that I use is broken and I can't get it to work? We'll get you to the right person. It doesn't matter. So we really started to promote this web team concept, and it was wonderful. It's not perfect. We still have our arguments. We still have our disagreements. But we have moved so far ahead, and we're leveraging the energy that comes from everything, from content changes to design changes to functional changes, and we're leveraging that energy. We also have going on our campus, as some of you can relate to, change of administration. Anybody have administrators changing over the next little bit? Yeah, it's a constant thing, right? Well, we've had some significant, or we're about to face some significant. I just found out about a month ago that in the next 6 months, we will change 4 of our 8 deans. And that's all. Yes. And we will change our senior vice president over academic affairs. Now, I think we're safe in this room to say, where do most of your problems come from on a higher education website? Faculty and administration. No, not exactly. But we do. We feel that sometimes. So let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. We have a school within our college, or a college within our university. I think that, yeah, College of Technology and Computing. We have a new dean that showed up about 6 months ago. He came from another place. He actually came from industry. So you can imagine his perception of higher education or his thoughts about what should be done in higher education are a little bit skewed to the corporate side or the industry side. He came in. I did not meet him. I didn't get a chance to meet him. And within about 2 months, I start hearing rumblings from President's Council, which is our big President's Executive Leadership Council, that there is a dean stirring the pot and he wants to tear the web apart. Now, that's not a good thing to hear, right, after everything we've worked at. Anybody ever heard this at your institution? Yeah, you get this kind of thing all the time. And so I thought, what in the world? What's going on? Well, I didn't do much about it. Didn't think much about it. Waited a little bit. And I heard again, man, this dean is really making problems. This dean is out to get us. What is going on? And I thought, oh, here we go again. We've dealt with this kind of thing before, but we took a different approach this time. I got with a couple of our coworkers and I said, let's book a meeting and let's go talk to this dean. Let's find out what we've got going on. So we did. We booked an appointment. We went up. I'd heard horrible things about him wanting to tear everything apart. He wanted to outsource pieces of our web. He wanted to change this. He wanted to do his own thing. Anybody relate to this kind of thing? It happens quite regularly. We went and sat with the dean. And we said, the very first thing out of our mouths was, Dean, what is it that you'd like to do on the web? We hear you're unhappy with how things are going. And he says, yeah, I'm very unhappy. Well, what would you like to do on the web? This was the first statement out of his mouth. He says, I think it's absolutely ridiculous that every marketing campaign we make on this campus has to drive traffic to the UVU homepage and not my school's homepage or my college's homepage. And we said, time out. That is so incorrect. You do not have to do that. In fact, that would be really ridiculous. Where did you get that? That's what's being presented in President's Council. That's what we're being told. Totally incorrect. Within 15 minutes, we are best buds with that dean. All he needed to do is understand that we understood him and what he wanted to accomplish was a good thing. There wasn't anything he told us in the next hour that didn't make absolute great sense for the web. It was a misunderstanding or miscommunication somewhere up through the channels. Wherever it had come, doesn't really matter. That's where it ended, and that's why he was ticked off. That's why he wanted to rip the web apart. Had nothing to do with the web. It had to do with miscommunication. Now he's one of our best allies in promoting and providing support as we move the web forward. So now what we do is each time a dean or an administrator changes, we immediately book a meeting with them and go up and visit with them and try to make sure that they understand our perspective and we understand their perspective. And then we can work together. So you can leverage a change in administrators to the negative or the positive, depending on how you want to take that on. And now we have the change of the web system, right? OU Campus version 10. Amazing things can come out of OU 10. Some of the things that we've found is that OU 10 provides all sorts of different things. We're going to have all sorts of gadgets. Anybody here to learn about gadgets? Go OU gadgets. Gotta love them, right? We're excited for that. There's all sorts of things that we're going to be able to leverage the power of. But the power of OmniUpdate version 10 is actually here in this room. If you'll collaborate with one another, that's where we get a lot of ideas. That's where we get to share a lot of our ideas. And we realize that we're not the only ones in that boat. We may be up against some challenge, but we're not the only ones facing it. Okay? But it's really how you look at it. It's how you perceive it. So now you get to a little test. Here's your test. I'm going to show you a picture for about 3 seconds. And I'm going to have you tell me what you see. Ready? Go. What'd you see? The answer's got to be something other than black and white. Okay? How many of you saw a vase? Okay? How many of you saw two faces looking at each other? Okay? How many of you saw both? Excellent. Excellent. Okay? It's about how you see things, right? So here's the vase and the two faces. So it's really about how you see it, how you perceive it. Let me give you another one. Ready? Who saw the old woman? Who saw the young woman? Okay. Do you want to see it again? I see some fingers pointing, so maybe I'll help you here. The old woman is looking at us. Here's her nose, eyes, her bonnet. Here's the young woman. She's looking away from you. Here's her ear. This is her necklace. That's her nose as she looks away from you, and there's her hair. Okay? It's really how you see it. Now, once you've seen it and somebody's explained it to you, you'll never really see it the same again, will you? So hopefully everybody can see those, okay? Again, like I said, the power of 10. Lots of cool things with the power of 10. 10th Users Conference, OU Campus version 10. This is also the 10th year of UVU using OU Campus. We started 10 years ago. And it's also 10 years of our campus UVU web committee, which is a representation of all folks across campus on a web committee to help us discuss and drive the initiatives of the web. Okay? And by the way, more power in the power of 10. 10, or 1 and 0, are the only binary numbers in this word. Awesome. There you go. And it surprisingly is the only two in incredible. And just if you were interested, it's also the only 2 digits in the word supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I researched this. Pretty cool, huh? Power of 10, gotta love it. So what are you gonna do with the energy from the power of 10? Not only here at this conference this week, but on through the rest of the year. There is lots you can leverage. Please do so. You're going to have a fantastic conference. I'm excited for the conference. I love this conference. I attend a few conferences a year, and I truly can tell you this is my favorite one. And why? Because I get to associate with all of you, but also because I get to rub shoulders with the entire OmniUpdate team. Let's just give them a round of applause. Awesome team. Every one of them, great people. All right? So, to kick this off a little bit, folks, I have with me today the top 10 list. Okay? The top 10 list today is the top 10 things higher ed web teams should never say. Okay? Here we go. Number 10. We don't care about mobile. It only affects a few of our users. Anybody ever heard this before? Yep. We actually heard this come right from our president's lips a few years ago, not very many years ago, but he says, oh, it's only about 2 to 3% of our users. Let's not put too many resources in it. He totally is singing a different tune now, but that you probably should never say. Number 9, JavaScript is just a passing fad, right? Self-explanatory on that one, I think. Number 8, analytics is just for geeks. We don't need it. I love analytics. I love the data. It's awesome. I think all images on the web should just be done away with. It should just all be data. That's the way it should be. Number 7. Oh, come on. More changes? Give me a break. Number 6. What's OmniUpdate? Never should hear a higher ed web team say that. Number 5. I don't care what it says, just make it look pretty. This kills me every time, this one right here. Yeah, we get people all the time that say, I don't have content, can you just build me a page and then I'll put content in it? What are we supposed to make it look like? What are we putting on the page? Our designers go crazy when we say that. Yeah, we don't have content, just make something. Make it look pretty. Number 4. Our website is finally complete. Yes! It's time for a party. No, should not say that. Number 3, if one more person asks me how to link a PDF, so help me. Okay, that's for you, Mallory. All right, number 2. What do you mean we're out of Pringles and Mountain Dew? That's what we live on. What are you talking about? And the number 1 thing that higher ed web teams should never say, I'm bored. Tons to do. Tons of awesome things to do. Lots of great energy around those. Leverage it as far as you possibly can. Use it as far as you can. It's an amazing thing. We have seen energy coming from our campus that we never would have thought would have come. And it's only happened in the last 18 months. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is the OTC14 top 10 list. So what does the future hold? I don't know. I really don't. I know it holds change. And I know there's a lot of energy around that change, and we can try to speculate of where we're going to be in 5 years, but I remember sitting here 5 years ago or 6 years ago thinking that mobile wasn't a big deal at all. It wasn't even a glimmer in our eye, and now it drives almost everything we do. So I don't know what the future holds. I don't think many of us do. We may have some ideas. But I will tell you there's a lot of change and there's a lot of energy around it, and it's really up to you on how you want to leverage that change for that energy for your campus. If you will leverage and harness that energy, you can definitely propel your site and your team forward. How many of you here are a one-man shop or a one-person shop? My heart goes out to you. That is a hard job. But what I'd like to propose to you is that if you look around your campus, you may find a dozen people that you can reach out, work with, and actually increase your web team without ever hiring another person. You could build a web team and leverage and harness that energy. Use this conference and increase your energy, and it will pay for itself. You will have a fantastic year, and I'm excited to talk with you all throughout the next few days. Thank you.
Thank you, Nathan. Thank you. All right, we're going to take a short break, and then we'll come back here for one more session before lunch. So enjoy your break.